Hello, everybody. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, and this is the Agree to Disagree show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Thank you for joining. I am curious to find out if any of you are watching on our Rumble account, because Rumble, we set up the stream, but it appears to be down. So if you're watching on Rumble, please leave a comment. I would love to know if this is getting through to people. I'm going to tell people in the groups to join us live. We're on Facebook, The New American Media. Link up with us. Instagram, The New American Media. Join us live right now. That has been sent. The New American Media is on Rumble and YouTube and Truth Social. Link us there. On X at American_media_, Patreon.com/The New American Media. Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman. PayPal at Fuzz Installment. Venmo is Brian Engelman. If you want to contribute, we appreciate that. And then TNAM and TNAM Chat on Telegram and Signal. And we are on the Agree to Disagree Show podcast that you can find on Spotify, iTunes, etc. Today, we're going to talk about what to expect with Donald Trump's upcoming speech to the joint session of Congress. Who's excited? I'm excited. There is so much happening. By the way, this is just maybe post of the year. Post of the day yesterday. We may have shared it yesterday, but it's on my feed, so I'll show you one more time. This guy, Rob Jenkins, here says, if Putin isn't stopped, all of Europe could succumb to totalitarianism. People could be jailed for social media posts. They could be threatened with arrest for praying in their homes. Rape gangs and child traffickers could run rampant. It's too awful to contemplate. Why is that funny? It's funny because it's true, and that's actually where things sit in Europe right now. The state of affairs is a bit of a train wreck, if I'm being honest. So let's jump into the news here. We'll go to Mr. Michael Schellenberger discussing U.S. aid and their darkest secret.
Overstate the seriousness of these crimes. These government agencies, they were engaged in regime change against a duly elected American president.
Yes. Yes. Regime change against Donald Trump, the duly elected American president. By the way, if you're watching this, type your name or your initials and where you're watching from. I love to get that information. And as soon as the comments start rolling, I might go to a third screen and put your comments up here so we can engage in a conversation while we broadcast the show together. So please leave your comments, and I will try to incorporate your thoughts into the program. Back to Michael Schellenberger talking about U.S. aid funding a coup to overthrow Donald Trump.
What has emerged from this new look at USAID is that this is one of the key organizations engaged in what you would call counterpopulism. They had both people from OCCRP on camera and USAID people on camera acknowledging this. This is classic CIA covert operations where you're using a series of front groups to mask where the money is coming from, because Trump folks back then would call the deep state. Their opponents said it was a conspiracy theory. Oh, there's no deep state. Absolutely, there is a deep state, and many of those institutions were working against the president.
It's fair to say that now it's like we have evidence.
They've threatened to sue us. Now, here's the other thing. So when they're running these information operations, the censorship is one part of what they're doing, but what they're really looking to do is just control how people think. And they're looking to control how people think by controlling the entire information environment.
Are you not concerned, at least at the level of principle, that there is now no longer a sort of firewall between big tech and big government?
Of course, everybody should be concerned about those conflicts of interest and their potential to exist. I do think civilization is still at risk.
Yeah, still at risk. Yeah, this was that post that we were talking about. T has joined again. That's very sweet. Thanks for joining. Are you aware that the United States were allies during World War II between 1941 and 1945? Are you aware of this? Ruin 100 years of international relations with our closest allies. T gets paid like $5 a post. You got to do a screenshot and then you snap it and let people know. Yep, I logged in. The New American Media went live, so we just copied, pasted this stuff. T, are you willing to engage in a conversation? If I brought you on camera, would you discuss your comments with me? The show's called Agree to Disagree. You disagree with us every day. I'm curious to know. Let's go ahead and give some perspective here. Since you bring it up, let's go full screen. After the U.S. entered the war, following the attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941, the Soviet Union, the predecessor state to modern Russia, became a key ally as part of the broader Allied powers. Both nations opposed the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan. The U.S. provided significant support to the Soviet Union through the Land Lease program, supplying food, equipment, and military materials to aid the Soviet war effort against Nazi Germany on the Eastern Front. This cooperation peaked with strategic coordination, such as the Tehran Conference in 1943, where leaders including President Franklin Roosevelt and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin planned military operations. The allegiance was pragmatic and temporary, noted in the shared goal of defeating Hitler. Tensions emerged even before the war's end as ideological differences, capitalism versus communism. By the way, how long has it been since the United States has been truly capitalistic? This US aid stuff is starting to show all of the graft, the totalitarianism, the communism, Marxism, Leninism that's taken over the United States. I mean, it's been a long time since we've been a capitalist nation. We like to say we are, but it's fascism when you blend the private finances of industry with the long arm of the law called the federal government. So anyway, they had some mutual mistrust, and by 1945, with Germany's surrender, the partnership unraveled, and that started the Cold War. So you have that. Oh, by the way, during the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, Russia, under Tsar Alexander II, expressed support for the Union, including a symbolic naval visit in 1863, partly to counter British and French influence. However, this is not a military alliance. So, what types of... Yeah, I know, Mike, exactly. Well, I mean, look, I will invite T. Hell, Mike, I'll invite you too. Why not? There's the link. If anyone wants to join today's show, jump in. But T, let's talk. You jump in and give us your deep state comments every single show that we do. You copy and paste a talking point. You rarely engage when we call you out and try to expand upon the conversation. The floor is yours. Let's have a conversation here on the Agree to Disagree show. Mike Moran, Operation Mockingbird is alive and well this morning. Oh, that's the one with the 22? I don't have... oh, yeah, I bet you we're going to get to that. Well, let's just keep tearing through our stories, shall we? Let's not get taken off track by a troll. Yeah, 22 people repeating the same exact line. The same exact speech that they were given prior to Trump's meeting and speech in front of the joint session of Congress. Here is J.D. Vance talking with Sean Hannity. Let's take a listen. Did you know that Zelensky tried to get back in and tried to make that deal once he was kicked out of the White House? What is that? Oh, that's why it's stopping. Okay.
To come back in and continue the conversation. The president was like, look, first.
Let's restart this clip.
Tried to stay a number of times and then made numerous calls to come back. Is that true?
I don't know about numerous calls, but they certainly made at least one request to come back in and continue the conversation. The president was like, look, first of all, they were disrespectful. And second of all, what are we even going to talk about? They've shown a clear unwillingness to discuss the peaceful settlement that President Trump is trying to bring to the situation. I think a lot of Americans are sort of, it's useful to step back and ask ourselves, what is the actual plan here? You can't just fund the war forever. The American people won't stand for it. And by the way, Sean, if you look at European opinion polls, the Europeans aren't going to stand forever for it either. We need to bring this thing to a peaceful settlement. The president was trying to do that. He'll continue to try to do that, but you've got to have two to tango. You've got to have a negotiating partner in the Ukrainians who recognize that, of course they have their views, and of course they're not always going to agree with us, but they've got to participate in the conversation. They weren't willing to do that on Friday, so the president said send them home.
Yeah, they're not willing negotiators, so deuces. Like, what point would it make to try working together when you're not really working together? All right. Schumer, Warren, and Timu Obama verbatim. No, there's 22 of them now, Mike, that are all saying the same exact lines. They're reading a script. These are terrible actors. Wait, who's Timu Obama? Is that Cory Booker? Is that Hakeem Jeffries? Who's Timu Obama? Oh, wait, Dollar Store Obama. Okay, they're calling him Dollar Store Obama. I have this one queued up. Let's take a listen.
Level of Delulu
Dollar Store Obama, Timu Obama.
that is coming out of the Democratic Party right now is unprecedented. I have never in everdom have I seen anything like this. Now, we have Dollar Store Obama over here, Hakeem Jeffries himself, coming out to make a public statement, a declaration, in fact, that the reason why there is a 93% drop at the borders, right? Why folks are no longer crossing in the way they once were, is not because of DJT, the very same one they were, calling a racist and a xenophobe for sending people back to where they once came. Yeah, turns out that the reason why there's a 93% drop at the border is because of them. Yeah, I said what I said.
Democrats trying to take credit for this.
Let me run that back for y'all. Hakeem Jeffries, fake ass Obama, is declaring that the Democrats are the reason why our borders are now secure. The same ones who are crying about the border becoming more secure. If we are not in some sort of toxic relationship with a narcissist and we are some sort of codependent who just continues to take the mental and emotional abuse, I don't know what else we are at this point. I don't know what else we are. The level of gaslighting, my God, the level of...
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And we said all it took to secure the American border was to give a shit. Thank you, President Trump. That's all it took. All you had to do was give a crap. All right, so there's this man dressing as a woman. I don't know. Using this phrase is like giving credence to what's going on. There's people with mental conditions with gender dysphoria disorder. It's a disorder. You can embrace your feminine side and dress how you want. You can't become something you're not. Compassion, treatment, that's fine. But competing against women in sports, that's not fine. And we're going to get to what happened with the Democrats blocking the bill to keep men out of ladies' sports. They seem to be addicted to it for some reason. Doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me. But the Democrats are addicted to having dudes competing against women. So this man who is choosing to identify as a woman is forced to run his race alone in a New York track meet because the women runners refuse to compete against him. Women athletes don't compete versus a transgender and Team USA track event, giving default victory to the trans athlete. It's time to sanity to girls' sports. Never compete against a dude. Ever. That'll fix it. New York, they're rejecting this because it's like 95% of the country knows this is wrong. Democrats don't seem to understand. Babylon B here putting this into perspective. Americans who cowered under government oppression for 2 years urge Ukrainians to die for freedom. More like 5 years of government oppression following COVID. But we take the point. LOL. Dropping some comments here. Yeah, Americans who cowered under government oppression for 5 years urge Ukrainians to die for freedom. Hakeem's hand movements while speaking are mesmerizing. Hakeem the dream. Hakeem, everybody. This is pretty great. Life comes at you fast. Adding insult to injury, Trump changed the Netflix password, and now Zelensky has to get his own account. Babylon B. Is there anything you can't do? That's hilarious. I love humor and satire. Here's another humorous and satirical. Anna put this out here. Prove me wrong, 411. How did we go from Trump going to start World War III to now being mad that Trump isn't going to start World War III? Can somebody make this make sense? We went from Trump, oh, Trump's going to start World War III, to, I can't believe Trump isn't starting World War III. The Democrats are the weirdest brand of person out there. Okay, here's some of the... Elon Musk has now offered a Tesla Cybertruck to the person that can prove who wrote this script. If you're the script writer, you'll get a free Tesla just by saying, I'm the one at the DNC that wrote this, and I sent the email that they all got. First, it was Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker. Now there's 22.
When I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of grocery, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing. Goose eggs to lower prices. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers.
On January 6th.
He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw to vital government programs and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data, Social Security numbers, tax returns, health care bills. He's fired thousands of essential workers.
Democrats are cringe.
People who help our veterans get their benefits. People fighting Ebola in Africa so it doesn't come here. He's frozen funding for vital programs that so many American families need. Cancer research, education funding, payments to family farmers, and so much worse. Why are they doing this? Trump, Musk, Doge are taking these vital services away from you for one reason only, so they can give tax breaks to their billionaires.
Operation Mockingbird.
Club. Their plan is awful.
The Republican
simply
plan
awful.
is
Billionaires
simple.
win, families lose.
Well,
and
billionaires
that
win.
is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard.
Yeah, buddy. It's like watching the lying legacy media. Deep state, Democrat puppets. This is from True News. Regarding Hegseth talking about NATO. Take a listen to this. This new alignment. You want to know why we're talking about Canada, Panama Canal, Greenland? There's a reason. It ain't because of Russia.
Europe cannot rely on the United States for protection, Hegseth told NATO allies. That means Hegseth delivered the message. You guys are on your own.
Yes.
We are going to make a friendship deal with Russia. If you want to fight them, then you can do it. But we're not in it.
And he said directly to them, I'm here today
to directly and unambiguously express that stark strategic realities prevent the United States from being the primary guarantor of security in Europe. He said this at a meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group at NATO headquarters. The United States faces consequential threats to our homeland. We must and we are focusing on securing our own borders. We also face a peer competitor in China with
China, not Russia. Yeah, we have our own problems. Mr. President, what do you think about what's going to happen with the election in Germany? I wish them well. We have our own problems here in the United States. We got to fix a lot of things. They said, sir, what about Germany? I said, what about them? I'll get to it after some of the key things are fixed.
With the capability and intent to threaten our homeland and core national interests in the Indo-Pacific.
You read that? China's intent to threaten our homeland. What does that mean, Doc? It means war on American soil with China, not us fighting China in Asia.
Right.
China fighting America in America.
Now do you understand why Donald Trump is pushing Canada as 51st state, Greenland as part of North America?
He's building a fort.
Panama.
And you've got...
He's building a fort. You know, in some ways this is kind of cool and smart, and then in other ways it's like, I feel like this is how we get it. Asia, East Asia, and Oceania. The three supercontinent governments in Orwell's 1984. I mean, but it does make strategic sense, especially when you think about all the shipping lanes and the fact that we have to address what China's up to. Whoop. Press the button. Why didn't it play?
7 years to get ready.
Yeah, and this isn't a fort to defend against Russia. It's a fort to defend against China. And so something very significant happened in the past 24 hours. Very significant. We abandoned
Let's
Europe.
read this last quote, because there's a statement in this, Doc. The remarks, his first at a NATO meeting, now as Pentagon chief, will spark fears amongst European allies that they could be left on their own in the face of a resurgent Russia. Comments confirming that the United States wants to prioritize facing off with China in the Pacific over European security are likely to spook NATO allies on the continent. Here's the translation. Pete Hegseth said, America's going to fight China.
Yes.
We're not going to fight Russia. We're going to sign a peace treaty with Russia. If you want to fight Russia, you do it. But we know that our enemy is China.
And we're going to prepare.
And you're on your own. As of today, you cannot count on America to defend Europe. This is it's beyond Doc, this is
we have been that for 70 plus years.
This is the end of the post-World War II world order.
Yes.
It just ended today.
Right. They pulled life support off of it today.
Europe cannot.
There you go. It's time to finally prioritize America. What a breath of fresh air. Handle your own business over there. So sick of paying for everybody else. So sick of it. It's not like we have unlimited funds. Stephen Miller crushing it on CNN. He does this pretty quick. I like it.
I understand that even a temporary interruption in federal employment is a great crisis and catastrophe for you and for CNN. What the American people see is a government that is finally delivering a promise of accountability under President Trump. You want to have a conversation about transparency? Let me ask you a question. Do you have any idea where the $22 billion that the Department of Health and Human Services provided to illegal aliens under Joe Biden is right now? $22 billion with a B. That's enough to provide a free house to every homeless veteran in America. Where's the $22 billion? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Joe Biden just spent it, and now it's gone. Transparency begins with having an accounting of where every federal dollar is spent. And God bless President Trump for leading this effort. I understand that even a temporary interruption.
There you go. This comment here, Biden administration. We're going to be the most transparent administration ever. And then left claps and cheers. Trump, I'm actually being transparent. This is how you're getting robbed blind. and the left seethes in anger. That's how that goes. Trump is transparent, and they don't like it. Because what we said, thank you, Stephen Miller, we are sick of being robbed by globalists who use that money to ruin America. No more. Oh, George Snuffleupagus here, the mouthpiece for Bill and Hillary Clinton back in the mid to late 90s. ABC spokeshole ever since. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio laying it out about Zelensky.
Let me tell you, do you know what the United Nations resolution was? I'll tell you if you want to hear what it was. All it said is, this is a bad war, it needs to end. And by the way, at the Security Council, which has not been widely reported, the first resolution on Ukraine that has passed the Security Council in 3 years, passed this week because of the leadership of President Trump. Shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize. This is absurd. Let me tell you, do you know what the United Nations resolution?
Yep. And we said Zelensky's not an honest negotiator. He's desperately clinging to power because he's going down with the ship as soon as elections are held. He's been a fairly I've been all right with him at Secretary of State. I think he's doing what he needs to be doing. Toria Brooke here saying, in case you missed it, the U.S. Justice Department fired the highest-ranking FBI agent in New York, in part because of his removal to disclose the names of employees involved in the investigation into the events of January 6th. Bravo. Election Wizard reporting that some congressional Democrats are plotting to disrupt Trump's speech to Congress tonight by using a variety of tactics, including noisemakers, hand clappers, signs, eggs, and walkouts. That's reported by Axios. The first session of Parliament has descended. I got to switch the. Here, let me take the comments off for a minute. There we go. The first session of Parliament descended into chaos as military police threw smoke bombs to show support. MPs. Is that military police? Threw smoke bombs to show support for student protesters outside who were rallying against the government. Several Serbian MPs were injured. Look at this madness. Yeah, that's decorum. You know what? Here's an idea. Agree or disagree? Type it in the comments. Do you agree or disagree that it would be a smart move to frisk Democrats come to the meeting tonight? If these are the reports, they're going to have smoke bombs and signs and all sorts of stuff to noisemakers. Frisk them. Pat them all down. Don't trust a single one of them. Pat them down. No problem with it. You tried to blow President Trump's head off in Butler, Pennsylvania. We're patting you down, you dirtbags. We had no problem with that. Take any contraband. And if you're trying to get contraband in from the squad, then you know what? You're banned. You're not coming in. You're not welcome. With the U.S. That's wild. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has called the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a traitor to the Jewish people and said that he is Nazifying Kyiv. Huh. There you go. And by the way, in case you missed it, the FBI will not release Seth Rich-related records as expected on March 10th. The Bureau plans to provide a Vaughn Index, a limited document listing withheld files, a limited document listing withheld files and the reasons for their concealment. Release every single Seth Rich, Edward Snowden, and Michael Hastings document ASAP. I'm adding Gonzalo Lira, who was killed by Zelensky's Ukrainians, American journalist. Yeah, release every single Seth Rich, Edward Snowden, Gonzalo Lira, and Michael Hastings document ASAP. If they're going after any journalists, if they're going after any whistleblower, they're coming after all of us. Donald Trump just put this out today. Canada doesn't allow American banks. Can you think of it? American banks to do business in Canada, but their banks flood the American market. Oh, that seems fair to me. Is Kristi Noem. Let's take a listen. She's out there working.
After MS-13 gang members, 18th Street gang members this morning.
MS-13 and 18th Street gang members.
These guys are rock stars, making our streets safe.
Thank you.
We're going after.
Thank you for working. Tornado warnings. Arkansas, Louisiana, Western Mississippi. Please be advised. Do you want to be smarter when you have conversations with people about Putin invaded Russia? Putin's the bad guy. You got to defend Ukraine. What do you mean you're not defending Ukraine? Well, of course we should spend hundreds of billions of dollars somewhere I can't point to on a map. No, I don't care about rebuilding Hawaii in East Palestine and Pacific Palisades. I don't care. I don't care about Western New York with Hurricane Helene. I care about Ukraine, and you should too, because Trump's a Putin puppet. I don't know where it's at. I know you're offering me $100 to point at it on the map. I don't know where it is. But if Trump's for it, I'm against it, okay?
2014, the U.S. worked actively to overthrow Yanukovych. Everybody knows the phone call by my Columbia University colleague, Victoria Nuland, and the U.S. Ambassador Peter Piot. Listen to it. It's fascinating.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea. I think Yachts is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience, and, fuck the EU.
No, exactly. And I think we've got to do something to make...
You don't get better evidence. Then came Minsk, and especially Minsk II. It said there should be autonomy for the Russian-speaking regions in the east of Ukraine. It was supported unanimously by the UN Security Council. The United States and Ukraine decided it was not to be enforced. There were many thousands of deaths in the shelling by Ukraine in the Donbass. And one of the issues on the table in December 2021, January 2022, was, does the United States claim the right to put missile systems in Ukraine? And Blinken told Lavrov in January 2022, the United States reserves the right to put missile systems wherever it wants. So the war started. What was Putin's intention in the war? It was to force Zelensky to negotiate neutrality. And that happened within 7 days of the start of the invasion. Ukraine walked away unilaterally from a near agreement. Why? Because the United States told them to. The idea was that there would be Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and Georgia that would deprive Russia of any international status by blocking the Black Sea. And the American senators, who are as nasty and cynical and corrupt as imaginable, say this is wonderful expenditure of our money because no Americans are dying. It's the pure proxy war. And since the U.S. talked the negotiators away from the table, about 1 million Ukrainians have died or been severely. In 2014, the U.S. worked actively to overthrow Yanukovych.
Back to the beginning.
Everybody knows the phone call by a university colleague, Victoria Nuland, and the U.S. Ambassador Peter Piot. Listen to it. It's fascinating.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea. I think Yachts is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience, and, fuck the EU.
No, exactly. And I think we've got to do something to make...
You don't get better evidence. Then came Minsk, and especially Minsk II. It said there should be autonomy for the Russian-speaking regions in the east of Ukraine. It was supported unanimously by the UN Security Council. The United States and Ukraine decided it was not to be enforced. There were many thousands of deaths in the shelling by Ukraine in the Donbass. And one of the issues on the table in December 2021, January 2022, was, does the United States claim the right to put missile systems in Ukraine?
All right, I just wanted to get to that Donbass thing again. So yeah, you need to be a little bit smarter when you're having conversations about Ukraine and Russia. You should kind of know how it was overthrown in 2014 by Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden, Victoria Nuland, the deep state, America, propped up, overthrew their duly elected president, put in your puppet, Zelensky, and you've pushed to start this conflict. You've had a raging member just dying to pound into Russia. So anyway, let's hear from Department of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth about what the latest is.
Once again from the Defense Department.
By the way, God almighty, doesn't this feel like it's not just a breath of fresh air, it's night and day. We're getting constant updates, progress reports, status reports. We're getting mission reports. We're getting constant updates, constant ideas, constant work being done. It feels so different than Biden as a puppet being led by deception while all the major decisions are being run behind the scenes by God knows who. Obama, Nuland, and the rest of the deep state. Here's Pete Hegseth.
You, the American people, work really hard to support the men and women in uniform who keep our country safe. We, in turn, owe you transparency on what we're doing to accomplish our core mission, which is securing the nation and spending your taxpayer dollars, ours, wisely. We're going to shoot straight with you. We want you, the American people, the taxpayers, to understand why we're making the decisions that we're making here. First and foremost, as we're executing as quickly as possible the priorities of President Donald Trump. Achieving peace through strength, restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and reestablishing deterrence. Those are no-brainers, and the American people gave a mandate to President Trump, and through him to us, to double down on those priorities, and that's exactly what we're doing. Now, the legacy media has, of course, a different agenda. You see the same clickbait headlines that I do. Time after time, the media distorts good news stories or often just gets them flat wrong. In many cases, well, in most cases, they have an agenda. Other times, they are just lazy, as they often are, and they don't take time to actually understand the facts.
And by the way, it is fair to point out that Pete Hegseth did work with legacy media, Fox, who put Chris Wallace in the 2020 debates to repeat the fine people hoax to try to kneecap President Trump. So, the same Fox News that tanked their own lawsuit against the voting systems that said they went out and said that their anchors didn't believe that the election was rigged. Of course they did. Anybody watching saw 7 of the swing states, fraud states, magically pause their counting. Oh, we're going to need a little bit more time so we can pull out just the correct number so that Biden can win by 10,000, even though Trump was up by hundreds of thousands when they should have called it. Fox tanked their own lawsuit, then fired their number one voice, Tucker Carlson. Fox is in on it. Fox is part of the deep state lying legacy media. So, yes, take Hegseth with a grain of salt. That's a fair commentary. If he's going to talk about the legacy media, you might want to just, be a little bit more self-aware because you were in legacy media with Fox, one of the bad guys, lying about Trump's in Charlottesville, repeating the fine people hoax to try to get Biden advanced. How dare you, Chris Wallace? How dare you, Fox News, for doing that? I turned off Fox News at that point. I haven't watched them since. I'll catch a clip here and there, but I don't watch that crap. They're just as bad as ABC, NBC, CBS.
I encourage you to take that media, those negative reports about important decisions that we're making at the department with a gigantic grain of salt, please. Ever since I've taken this position, the only thing I care about is doing right by the warfighters, by the troops. In short, we want the biggest, most badass military on the planet, on God's green earth. I'm in this room right now, but I'm not alone. Behind the camera are lots of vets and military family members, along with other people who, like you, are invested in exactly what that core mission is. So when we make decisions that are misreported in the media, we're going to try to get to you as quickly as possible. And not just me, it'll be other people as well, so you understand the real thought process behind them, and then how they relate to our core mission of fighting and winning war, hopefully deterring them, but fighting and winning wars, and then how we spend your taxpayer dollars wisely to accomplish that mission. Greetings once again.
All right. Well, we're going to have a very different bit of leadership from the White House. By the way, here's kind of what anybody else having these vibes. If you try to talk to somebody about Trump, God, I had such an awkward encounter the other day. Someone challenged me. Did you vote for Donald Trump? I was talking about an unrelated topic with RFK Jr. And this person called in their friends to kind of try to bully me in a really weird interaction. I'm like, yeah, I voted for him twice, didn't you? They tried to dismiss me, like, yeah, you can go now. I'm like, I was the one standing here. You're the one that walked up to me, you weirdo. Grow up. Are you advocating that I should have voted for Kamala Harris? Is that what this is about? You think that was a viable solution? Hilarious. Anyway, this is what a lot of interactions feel like to me right now.
It is just so bad since he's become president.
Really? What has he done?
Oh, so many things. So many things. Lots of things.
Like what?
Well, the Constitution. We have a constitutional crisis right now. It's a constitutional crisis.
What part of the Constitution is he broken?
Lots of the Constitution has been broken, like so much of it. So it would take me too much time. It would take too much time for me to name all of the things in the Constitution that he's broken. So yeah, it would just, you'd be here all day. Yeah. What? No, I just can't. I don't know if I can name everything. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I gotta get these dishes up, okay?
How do you think Trump's doing?
Oh, he's doing a horrible job. It's worse than I could have ever imagined. He's destroying everything.
What has he destroyed?
Where do I start? So many things. So many things. Medicare and Medicaid. Yeah, they're getting scrapped. So.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I'm pretty sure they are. So they're going to be. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. It's so bad, but this is what people voted for. So, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's just, yeah. I'm sorry, the dryer is still out. I can't give specifics right now. We'll have to talk about it another time. He just keeps getting worse and worse.
So good. So well articulated. The left doesn't have a clue, nor a coherent counter argument against MAGA. That was hilarious. Conservative mama. I like that a lot. Because I'm feeling that way. And if I'm feeling that way, I know there's a couple people feeling that way. That's for damn sure. All right, let's go ahead and share this with you. We're going to jump over to our X feed. We will play this for you. Ask that you go ahead and watch this.
All it takes is 7 seconds
it
before
is the
bed
documentary that Blake Wally and myself
hey folks,
made.
Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent
Western
news.
North Carolina,
The world's central banks
Virginia,
are making
and Tennessee. We went on a tour of the Hurricane Helene damage so that we could kind of get a clue of what was going on down there. We'll just play the trailer. Hope you can watch this and share this. It's pinned to our X feed at American_media_. Please watch it. Please share it. I think it's pretty important that we don't forget these people.
There was no notifications going to your phone, like an Amber Alert, like evacuate. I get alerts from Denny's. There actually was a bunch of houses right here that are here now. You can see, look how big the river is, like the riverbed. Holy, look at this Dollar General, bro.
It blesses your heart to see the way people have come together.
Yeah.
I heard like 4 different people talking about like how everybody's just worried this initial hop's going to die away and people are just going to forget about it. And really none of these communities can afford to be forgotten.
So yes, please check that out.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Please check that out and share that, please. Hurricane Helene, help on the way. All right, are we good? Good. Side by side, back to good. Kenneth, what's up, Kenneth? With Grizzle Manizzle. Whoa, that's getting close. It's getting close to something I can't repeat, Mr. Good Sir. Let's listen to this from Chanel Ryan here on Fine Point. Let's listen to Adam Schiff. Did he commit treason? Elon Musk sure thinks that it sounds like he did.
That report about Ciaramella was correct. And now
Eric Ciaramella.
we know Ciaramella worked directly with Biden on Ukraine affairs. In fact, one of my sources, former diplomat and now wrongfully sanctioned Andrei Teleshenko, was in the room with Ciaramella when a Ukrainian contingent met with Obama and Biden to discuss Ukraine affairs. Ciaramella was an Obama-Biden guy, and he colluded with Schiff. The implications I raise at the end of my broadcast from the White House briefing room stands today more than ever. Schiff is indeed in deep trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And the one person in all of Washington who knows this story inside and out is, of course, my friend and now FBI Director, Kash Patel. A man who debunked the entire Russia hoax while working as a senior aide for Congressman Devin Nunes on the House Intel Committee. Kash not only remembers, he has very strong feelings about what needs to happen to Adam Schiff.
Oh, yeah. We have got to make examples of these people or else we'll have no country. That's all it comes down to. These people have to be indicted. They made up lawfare reasons to go after and target President Trump, who didn't do anything wrong. I mean, trying to trump up misdemeanors, pass the statute of limitations combined into felonies. It's nonsense. Nonsense. Raided his home, got into Melania's stuff. They had authorization to use firearms and could have put President Trump's life in jeopardy over secret documents that have all been handed back because there was nothing to him. They were framing him 6 ways from Sunday, as Chucky Schumer likes to say. So, yeah, I have thoughts on this, too. And I think my thoughts are pretty similar to what Kash Patel thinks.
He should be investigated because he lied to the world about his interactions with Ciaramella, who is a whistleblower, and I can't stress it enough, that started a presidential impeachment.
Kash knew all this, but there was only so much he could do back then. Now that's not the case. Mark my words, Schiff will see the gallows of Kash's FBI.
Oh, gallows. Lord willing. These people, there are supposed to be crimes for criminal penalties for treason.
Mark my words, Schiff will see the gallows of Kash's FBI.
Wow, she chose those words very specifically. I thought she was going to say, Schiff is hitting the fan.
Now that's not the case. Mark my words, Schiff will see the gallows of Kash's FBI. The political gallows, that is. So Godspeed, Kash. Director Patel, you have our full support. Is the Doge chainsaw cutting too close to the bone?
Yeah, let's go, Kash. I'm here for it. James O'Keefe here. Let's take a listen. This is about Karen Bass and this fire that happened. How preventable was this? She's putting the fine in fine point. Ayo.
Meet Alexander Boss.
Alexander Boss, International Relations, LA Mayor's Office. This is O'Keefe Media Group. James O'Keefe, calling to light this Karen Bass situation.
An official inside the office of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Boss discloses into our hidden camera that Mayor Karen Bass's office knew these wildfires would happen and admits there was nothing the mayor's office could do to stop the fires.
They really had no idea this fire was like a possibility.
Of course they did. But the thing is, there's nothing they can do. But red flag warnings, like, it's a big indication of fires.
Yeah.
So of course they did.
Yeah, everybody knows the big winds lead to big fires. So they said, we dropped hidden camera footage 2 weeks ago proving LA mayor's office knew that wildfires were coming. And LA Times suddenly discovers this info without mentioning us. We even reached out to the LA Times for coverage. Journalists have a duty to report news when it's worthy, not just when it fits the narrative. Do your job. Bravo. End wokeness, said Ryan Ruth, the man who tried... I guess I could full screen this. Maybe not. Can I go side by side? Sort of. I'll go side by side. Ryan Ruth, the man who tried to kill Trump before the election, is deeply connected to Ukraine's military, and they completely buried this. Eric Metaxas says they never thought this would come out. They would kill Trump and stay in power, but it's all coming out, and they are freaking out. Buckle your seatbelts. Yeah, I bet you Zelensky was involved. Ukraine was involved. This guy from Ukraine, just simping for Ukraine, totally involved. And they figured out that they would be figured out if President Trump came to power, so they tried to off him. Continued prayers for protection to President Trump and his entire team. Absolutely. This might be the best suggestion we've heard in a while. Seriously, let's enact this. Robbie Starbuck here putting this out. How do you feel? All right, we'll do it that way. I want President Trump to start an immigration exchange. It would work like this. Are you an American who hates America? We'll fund your move to a left-wing country if you renounce your citizenship. In exchange, we'll take a citizen of that country who loves America. I mean, it's maybe the best idea I've ever heard. Fill America with people who think America is awesome. Get rid of the commies. Check out our show from yesterday. Will Trump leave NATO? Logan Act charges for deep state Zelensky meddling. The A2D show. Check that out. New British nuclear weapons can protect Canada against Trump. Liberal Party leader Christina Freeland, running to replace leftist Justin Trudeau, has said, according to the Telegraph. He said, what? How soon can Pierre Poilievre take over and put Canada back on track? Brian Cates mentioning this guy who is asked to put in his resignation. He says, quote, I was told to submit my resignation papers on Friday, and I just did. I was not given a reason for this decision. Brian Cates replies, because you got caught, asshole. We'll get back to that one. There's a couple stories on that. Senator Richard Blumenthal, a.k.a. Dick, really wants to meet big balls. This is too good, says Elon. Senator Blumenthal demands answers on Tesla Cybertruck purchase. Senator Blumenthal is pressing Secretary of State Marco Rubio over reports that the State Department plans to spend $400 million on armored Tesla Cybertrucks for diplomats. He's demanding records on Elon's involvement, why Tesla was removed from documents, and whether Doge officials influenced the deal. With Cybertruck sales struggling, Blumenthal warns of serious conflicts of interest and has given the department until February 21 to respond. Vegas Metro just received 10 Tesla Cybertrucks for patrol and SWAT, thanks to a donor. Sheriff Mick Mahill says the bulletproof trucks will keep officers safe and serve as a recruitment tool. Tesla now has the largest Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department fleet. They have the largest fleet in the U.S., ramping up drone surveillance, rolling out new de-escalation training to officer-involved shootings. They look like MRAPs. They really do. Oh, this dude built a fake Cybertruck? Man, that's a good woodworker right there. Look at this. That is wild. Oh, and it works. Oh my goodness. Does it drive? Oh my goodness. This is pretty dope. Oh my gosh. It's on the street? Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, check out our show about reinstating Pete Rose. And if you asked if you watched the Oscars and the U.S. crypto reserve news. All right, so here you go. Breaking, Ian Jagger reporting, Riley Gaines said that she will make it her mission to do what she can to remove Democrat Senator John Ossoff from his Senate seat in 2026. This coming after he voted against keeping men out of women's sports. That's what you get. J.K. Rowling, the fringe idea that we all have a gender identity that may or may not match our biological sex is the whole point of this discussion. Trans activists act as though the existence of gender identity is a settled, self-evident point, when to the vast majority of the world it is unevidenced, quasi-religious, pseudoscientific nonsense, which has been imposed top-down on our society with serious consequences for vulnerable women and troubled youth in particular. Meaningful discussion about competing needs and rights cannot happen inside of an elitist ideological bubble where everyone is forced to adopt gender ideology's approved jargon, accept its self-contradicting slogans, in fact, as fact, and pretend fact-light assertions and feeble sophistry are critical thinking. You tell us to educate ourselves, by which you mean adopt our beliefs unquestioningly. But at this point, most of us know your arguments off by heart. These include, but are not limited to, feelings trump facts, and unless we agree, we're erasing people from existence. Women and girls aren't definable entities, so why should they be entitled to their own sports and single-sex spaces? Clownfish and people with DSDs, DSDs. What is DSDs? Disorders of sex development. In people with disorders of sex development means sex is on a spectrum, and woman is a set of stereotypes associated with the female sex class. So it doesn't matter if you've got a penis. If you identify with those stereotypes, you're valid. The reason we haven't been won over by these talking points and remain so tragically uneducated isn't that we failed to grasp the sophistication of your worldview. It's that we think that you're talking unadulterated bullshit and making fools of yourselves. Yeah, I think maybe we should just drop the word gender. That's what I'm starting to reach a conclusion on. Romania, Mario Nafal reporting here. Romania and European Union back NGO-led online censorship area ahead of elections. Romanian government, EU officials, and Soros U.S. aid-funded NGOs just met to coordinate online censorship before the upcoming elections. NGOs like Expert Forum, Active Watch, and Funky Citizens will work with authorities and social media platforms to flag and remove content they label as disinformation. This includes monitoring political ads, trafficking inauthentic behavior, and enforcing rapid response takedowns. New censorship bill is being prepared, and the censorship network will officially launch on March 25. Elon says the NGOs are trying to destroy democracy. Feelings. Nothing more than feelings. Here you go. Here's Soros. Where do his tentacles go? You got corrupt district attorneys, open society activists, Antifa rioters, BLM rioters, American Democrats, voting machines instead of easy paper ballots, child trafficking, porn, European Union, color revolutions, the entertainment industry, Ukraine at the center of it. Justin Trudeau is a willing puppet, the CDC, the WHO, the WEF. You have election fraud, the education system, colleges and universities. These are the puppets of Soros, people. Puppets of Soros. Yeah, BINGO. I started messing with that, trying to craft a joke about that the other day. Let's listen to what's going on with the NGOs and George Soros, where it's coming from, how we got here.
Gigantic scam. Like one of the biggest, maybe the biggest scam ever.
And how many NGOs?
I think there's a total number of NGOs, probably millions, but in terms of large NGOs, tens of thousands. I mean, it's actually kind of a hack to the system where someone can get an NGO stood up for a fairly small amount of money. Like George Soros was really good at this. Like George Soros is like a system hacker. Like he figured out how to hack the system. He's a genius at arbitrage. I mean, these days he's pretty old, but a genius at arbitrage. So he figured out that you could leverage a small amount of money to create a nonprofit, then lobby the politicians to send a ton of money to that nonprofit, so you can take what might be, a $10 million donation to a nonprofit to create a nonprofit and leverage that into $1 billion NGO. A nonprofit is a weird word. It's just a non-governmental organization, and then the government continues to fund that every year, and it'll have a nice sounding name like the Institute for Peace or something like that. But really, it's a graft machine.
And what are the requirements with that money? What do they have to do?
Just really no requirements at all.
So they just get grants and the government just assumes that they're doing good work.
I think a lot of people in the government know that they're not doing good work.
Yeah. They're not doing good work. And we just said that Glenn Beck has been tracking
gigantic scam.
Soros and his web for decades, and now it looks like we might have finally have the answers to how he can unplug the power supply to this anti-American madness. Molly Pitcher here saying, if people don't go to jail, the corruption in government will not stop. It really is that easy. I agree. Once again, in order to understand Ukraine and Russia today, let's watch this. Wall Street Apes and Donna Marie shared this. In 1990, Soros set up his foundation in the Ukraine, which was 2 years before the independence of Ukraine. Let's take a watch.
Set up the foundation in Ukraine in 1990, which is 2 years.
It's a little quiet, but let's take a listen.
The foundation in Ukraine in 1990, which is 2 years before the independence of Ukraine. Where does George Soros figure in all this? Unfortunately, everywhere. This is a team of Democrats. Newland, Soros, Biden, in favor of the interests of Hillary Clinton, did everything to prevent Mr. Trump from being elected in the 2016 elections. We remember the countries in North Africa where the Arab Spring happened. Libya, Tunisia, and Egypt. We remember the Tulip Revolution in Kyrgyzstan. We remember the Rose Revolution in Georgia. We remember the Orange Revolution in 2004. And finally, the consequences of not only the Orange Revolution, but also the Revolution of Dignity of 2013 and 2014. This is also his activity. He did not stop. He continued to operate in 2015 and 2016. Son Hunter Biden has a deal in Ukraine. Explain that. Yes, his son was and remains on the board of directors of one of the companies that is engaged in oil and gas production in Ukraine. So this also explains the economic interests of the Biden family. Not only the son, but probably his high-ranking father as well.
Russian election interference.
Russian witch hunt.
Мы говорим, если опять хотите вернуться к выборам США. Послушайте, огромная страна, огромный народ, со своими собственными проблемами, со своими представлениями о том, что хорошо, что плохо, с пониманием того, что для среднего класса за предыдущие несколько лет, 10 лет, допустим, при огромном росте благосостояния правящего.
There's a huge increase in earnings for the middle class, or the ruling class, but for the middle class, nothing. Anyway, that was a little hard to read. But if we're going to have opinions on it, we should really try to understand.
Are you official?
We should really try to understand what we're talking about. There's a lot to it. You can go back to Ukraine. You can go back to Gorbachev in 1990 and the NATO guarantees that have been broken over and over again. There's a lot to unpack here. Here's Benny Johnson unpacking what happens if you get the hand gesture.
See, can you please give us an insight into Trump? If Trump uses this hand gesture towards you, are you officially cooked? Are you done?
The Sopranos.
Okay? If he does it, are you done? You're done.
You know, it's a Peter Navarro does it too. Absolutely. This is you know, and Trump doesn't do things by accident, because usually it's the hand, right? It's the this and that. He did that in the meeting, but when he gets to this, you know, you got some bigger problems than just $300 billion stopping from coming to your country. I've seen the picture you're showing, the memes. It's amazing. I love it so much.
See, can you please give us an insight into Trump? If Trump uses this hand gesture towards you, are you officially cooked?
You are so cooked. It's the rock on. It's the sideways rock on. Kevin Sorbo telling you they want to spend your money any way they want to. They want to keep you fat. They want to control everything you do. They want to indoctrinate your kids into socialism and communism. They want to open our borders to anyone and everyone. They want to have sex with your children. They encourage violence and hate and anger. They want to keep murdering babies, child sacrifice. And you dumb Dems keep voting them into office. So is that a good idea? Or is it not? Take a listen to this farmer here. Wall Street Apes reporting what this guy has to say. Let's hear him in his own words.
Well, the water wars have started.
Water wars.
Somebody really needs to get in touch with Trump on what's going on. The State Water Board yesterday readopted their emergency regulations, which will restrict water usage on my farm and all through Northern California. So somebody needs to get hold of Trump, and, you know, what he's doing is not going to work. These guys are just going right around him because he doesn't know. So somebody either tag him in this video. We need to make many videos to somehow get him aware of what they're doing. Well, the water wars have started.
Yep. They quietly put back in place some emergency water regulations that Trump ordered to be ended, and even sent the military in to turn the water back on. And so they readopted these emergency regulations. What is wrong with these California politicians? So here's Pam Bondi. She says a massive amount of Jeffrey Epstein files were dropped off on Friday, and FBI Director Kash Patel is currently looking through them. Brian Cates says, and then when Kash is done looking through them, and he is going to know what's in there, Bondi gets to review the documents also before the Department of Justice's public release. So both Bondi and Kash are going to know what's in there. Everybody understands how the process works now? Okay, I mean, yeah. But we said with this process in the works, Brian Cates, are you confident the files will all be released? The binder stunt at the White House backfired miserably. The SDNY guy wasn't indicted for hindering an investigation, and people are losing hope that Bondi is tough enough for this job. So we'll find out. I'm not sure if you saw this video or not, but meet Kara Rogan, a man pretending to be a woman who is on the board of supervisors for Coolbaugh Township in Pennsylvania. He harassed a lady at a pharmacy who was trying to pick up medicine and became aggressive after being called sir. This dude is making decisions for the city, and our tax dollars pay his salary. No, watch the video. It's here on X. Nancy Mace put this out. She said, I understand videos. By the way, we're doing lightning round, so we're giving you highlights. You can do some more deeper research by going to the New American Media X feed and then running some additional searches. But all of these stories are shared on our X account. Nancy Mace says, I understand video or videos may have been released via a media outlet tonight. I hope this warrants the state to search for certain devices and certain tapes at a certain location. Thanks. So the story is allegedly that Nancy was drugged and raped and filmed by men that everyone know in D.C. She spoke about this spoke out about this very bravely. I'm assuming she means the video of her. What a hideous thing. They already violated her, and now they're doing it again. Her ex-fiance, they're saying. Yeah, that's awful. So, yeah, also saying that since you might run against Lindsey Graham, you're becoming a target. So it's a spiritual battle. Hang in there. Horrible stuff. But, you know, now we saw First Lady Melania Trump trying to push legislation to get stuff off of the internet if it's not fully endorsed, if you will, by the people involved in it. Here's a thread, the top 8 funniest Trump tweets. Wait, is it a thread? I only see one. Where's the thread? Oh, okay. You know, I'll come back to this. I will leave you with Defiant L's right here for our moment of Zen. We'll end on a funny note. Yesterday, Trump tweeted out, "Tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is." They said, "Sir, will you be diplomatic or will you be?" I said, "No, I'm going to tell it like it is." So, by the way, just something interesting here, according to Real AF Patriot, from 1793 until 1933, inaugurations were held on March 4th, unless it was a Sunday. This was the day that the federal government began operating under the U.S. Constitution in 1789. No, I am not saying that Trump's real inauguration is today, but I do not believe it is a coincidence that he chose such a significant day for the event. Interesting. They're saying Roosevelt's first inauguration, you know, just kind of showing Washington, Roosevelt. Libs of TikTok received this from a follower. These questions are being asked of children during routine checkups at Seattle Children's Hospital. What is the patient's sexual orientation? Asexual, gay, pansexual, bisexual, lesbian, queer, straight, something else? What are you doing? Female, transgender, female, other, non-binary, man or masculine, man, cis or cisgender, gender fluid, agender, demi-boy, male, transgender male, gender queer, gender non-conforming, not exclusive, women or feminine, two-spirit, bigender. What are you doing? Get this out of there. Elon saying, "Stop this madness." Good grief. We just put a GIF of Obama saying, you know, you're making a valid point. Michelle and I, we've talked about this. And as Joan Rivers once said, everybody knows Michelle is a tranny. Now, I'm not going to admit to such fallacies. Phallus. But that was funny. Fallacies. LOL. Phallus. Anyway, you get the point. Election Wizard saying that Prime Minister Tusk reiterated that Poland will not send troops to Ukraine. Looks like a new peace alliance is forming between the United States, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Italy. The EU dominoes are starting to fall. Let's hear this about the governor of Maine, Janet Mills. Is this a guy? Is this a guy?
Mills, the current governor of Maine. A year before she took office, her brother, Peter Mills, received $22 million through a shell company called Western Mountains and Rivers Corporation. This company also received 670 acres of land on the Dead River, all courtesy of a company called Central Maine Power. When Janet Mills assumed office a year later, she immediately approved CMP to clear-cut an 145-mile corridor through western Maine without the endorsement of any of the localities affected, who were all in major disagreement with the decision. decision. And that $22 million that was supposed to be spent on the towns appears to have been pocketed by this shell company run by Peter Mills, rather than being spent on the people it was actually supposed to. When I reached out to Western Mountains Corp to verify where the funds were spent and the status of the land, my request was ignored, and there exists no information on the firm's website either. This is in the state of Maine and deserves to be investigated. Mills, the current governor of Maine, a year.
They said, "Sir, what do you think of this Peter Mills? Is he operating Mills? Does he have a Peter? I don't know." And they said, "Sir, what do you make of this?" Sir, I say, sir. Yeah, I know. I essentially took the foghorn leghorn. Sir, I said, sir. Sir, I said, sir. And they said, sir. That really is the intro to most of my Trump bits that I do. I do plan on doing stand-up this week, maybe tonight or tomorrow. I'm not entirely certain yet. Maybe I'll do a Trump. We shall see. Yeah, let's dig into Janet Mills. Come on, are they saying that this is a lady? It looks like Kevin Spacey and like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just curious, but what is going on here? Look at, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just, for being lied to about who somebody is, like, I would like to know the fact about who somebody is. Not to bully or demean per se. It's just, why are they choosing to ignore the ban on women participating or men participating in women's sports? Well, maybe there's a vested interest. Maybe that person wears vests. Senator John Kennedy talking here on Newsmax. And why Democrats are mad at Doge.
Well, do you ever notice when the critics of what we're finding complain, they never talk about what we're finding. They don't want to talk about the spending porn. They want to talk about the process, and they don't like Elon Musk because he wears, I don't know, he wears Crocs to a wedding. They don't like the way he dresses. They don't like the way it's being done. But they never criticize what he's finding because they can't. It's spending porn. Well, do you ever notice when
and it's so weird. Like, I just, like, for what reason do they hate Elon Musk? Okay. Just because he's teamed up with Trump? I had a guy come up and asked to be interviewed in Washington, D.C. in inauguration weekend. And he had a sign that said, it was about something about hating Elon. I'm like, all right, well, why? He's like, well, because he's Elon Musk. I go, what does that mean? Like, what? And, like, that doesn't prove a point to me here. I don't understand all the hate. Doge is there to find the waste, fraud, and abuse, and along with President Trump, his backing, and data Republican, a nonverbal super genius. We're getting to the bottom of this. Elon, thank you so much for bringing all of your eggheads, the big balls, and the nonverbal data girl to the White House to save billions with a B. With a B. It's a lot of bullion.
Republicans absolutely voted.
Oh, here is Scott Jennings crushing it on CNN as usual.
Republicans absolutely voted for this.
Okay, people do not want
two,
government waste, that's for sure. But they didn't vote for foresters to get fired.
Look,
they didn't vote for the parks to be closed.
Look, you guys,
veterans to be fired.
You guys keep trying to create this fantasy land where Donald Trump is not popular, where Republicans are mad.
Republicans are mad.
Can you
shut down the town halls.
Can you name a single Democrat in Congress who's more popular than Donald Trump right now?
Listen,
Answer, no.
Scott,
the reality is Republicans are so happy with this. They're not upset about it.
No, they
The
are.
American people are happy about what's going on right now because for the first time in a long time, a president said,
Scott,
I'm actually going to reduce the size of government. Republicans absolutely.
This AstroTurf thing where they bring a nonprofit in, these NGOs, non-governmental organizations. It's so weird. It's so weird. And then they put these AstroTurf people to act like Republicans who are upset. It's fairly ridiculous. And, oh, yeah, Republicans are upset. She kept trying to push that lie. No, they're not. This is exactly what Republicans voted for. And Republicans are even happier than they could have imagined with what's happening. Accountability is long overdue with these people. And anything that can take them down, Republicans are thrilled with. CNN is vehemently rejecting a Joe Rogan-fueled conspiracy theory that CNN aired the Trump rally because they knew he'd be shot. Yeah, what are the chances CNN was tipped off to stream the Butler rally? Okay. CNN Communications replied to several of the accounts promoting the theory with a very clear explanation. CNN provided live coverage of President Trump's Butler rally in anticipation of news about his pick for vice president. Oh, please. Oh, please. Are they really trying to say that they care so much about the vice presidential pick? That's why they did it. That does not ring true to me. A vice presidential pick. The whole election's about Trump. The VP choice is secondary, irrelevant, tertiary. It's, oh my gosh. Any suggestion contrary to that fact is completely false. Yeah, that's not enough to make me believe it. How many other rallies did they cover? Let's dig into that. Olivia Rondeau saying she just witnessed Maxine Waters try to demand her way into hand delivering an anti-Doge letter to Housing and Urban Development Secretary Turner while he was in a meeting. The HUD chief of staff was quite nice and offered to have her watch a video of Trump's accomplishments in the lobby. Oh, that is nice. All right, let's go back. You want to know why Ukraine is a mess? Let's listen to Joe Biden in his words.
No, I am not the pen pal, but the phone pal of Poroshenko and Arseniy Yatsenyuk and now the speaker. I literally, without exaggeration, the last 4 years I'm on the phone 2 to 3 hours a week with those folks. There's an overwhelming instinct in Europe to say, hey, before you guys became president, this was owned by Russia anyway. They had a puppet there. What difference does it make? What the hell's the difference? Why are you making us engage in these sanctions? You remember last year I was authorized to say we do the second tranche of $1 billion, and he didn't fire his chief prosecutor. And because I have the confidence of the president, I was there and I said, I'm not signing it. Until you fire him, we're not signing, man. Get it straight. We're not doing it.
And there he is speaking at the Council on Foreign Relations. Yep, another globalist think tank.
Till you form a new government and you actually bring in someone who will move on this, we're not playing. Not because we're trying to play hardball, because we know if they give an excuse to the EU, there are at least 5 countries right now that want to say, whoa, we want out. At least 5 right now. And so what we're putting together now, is a basic, detailed roadmap of who goes first and who goes second. And there's 2 pieces of this, folks. One is the security guarantees that are to flow from Russia. And 2, the political steps that Ukraine has to take. And some of the steps are very difficult to take. They've already done the energy piece, they've done some other things, but my point is that when you say the dumb boss is going to have a special status and you're going to amend your constitution, it's like saying, okay, you know, Texas and Wyoming, Texas is going to have a special status, that we don't want because we want Mexico to have more influence in Texas. And we're going to pass that through the United States Congress. So there's some really tough stuff they've got to do. They're willing, I'm convinced they will do it.
Yep. Joe Biden, everybody. All the Ukrainian meddling. Biden's pardons go all the way back to 2014. Sean Davis saying you can draw a straight line from what's happening with Ukraine today back to the Obama-Biden foreign policy of 2014. They launched a coup to install a puppet government in Ukraine. Then they used the country as a base of operations for corrupt money laundering and enrichment of the regime's friends and family, all funded by the American taxpayer. It wasn't just Hunter Biden getting paid, although he was the most obvious. They were all doing it. If Zelensky falls and an accountable government is elected, it's over for everyone who used that country as a piggy bank for the last decade. And they all know it. That knowledge is what unites Obama-era Democrats and neocons. Nobody can ever find out about what they've been doing, and the best way to keep it all hidden is to make sure that the war never ends. Remember, when they bombed Nord Stream, Putin's largest source of economic leverage over Europe, and then they tried to claim Putin blew it up? Remember that? Just wait to see what they come up with when they finally decide Zelensky has outlived his usefulness. Yeah, that part. But we're not even sure if those attempts at a cover-up will hold upon legal scrutiny. It's time to challenge that. In 2014, Viktor Yanukovych, a Russian, was a democratically elected president in Ukraine. He decided to align Ukrainian trade with Russia rather than the European Union. So the United States orchestrated a color revolution to replace him called the Euromaidan Revolution. Notably, George Kent, who is a color revolution expert for the State Department, testified against Trump in his first impeachment and was in Ukraine in 2004 when the Orange Revolution happened, and again in 2015 when the Euromaidan Revolution. After the Euromaidan Revolution. Note, impeachment is one of the color revolution strategies included in their color revolution playbook. Victoria Nuland, Assistant Secretary of State, was in Ukraine and engineered Euromaidan Revolution, where they used all the same tactics that were used against Trump leading up to the 2020 election. Victoria Nuland's role in regime change in Ukraine in 2014 was proven when her phone call was intercepted, where she discussed with the ambassador to Ukraine, Jeffrey Piat, who they planned to replace Yanukovych with. There's a YouTube link. John McCain was actively involved in the Euromaidan Revolution and was photographed on stage with Ole Tonnybrook, a neo-Nazi. It shows you how desperate the U.S. was to pry Ukraine out of control from the Russians. The reason I outlined this for you is because I wanted to see how our government isn't interested in promoting democracy. Viktor Yanukovych was elected in a democratic process, and Viktor Yanukovych was elected in a democratic process, and they deposed him. Also, the same color revolution playbook was executed in the United States against Trump in the summer of 2020, and with the impeachment attempts against him. Why was Ukraine so important to the United States? It's all about money and power. Sean does a good job of explaining that above. Something to keep in mind. Yeah. The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters to fight, and they will be dying. Zelensky talking about American troops dying if NATO Article 5 is triggered. Johnny Midnight says, this is what Zelensky wanted. Trump wants no part in this. It's peace or nothing from Trump. Zelensky wants American blood to be shed because he doesn't want peace. Yeah, Trump wanted peace, and Zelensky wants the war. And Elon said the flower of Ukrainian and Russian youth are dying in trenches with no meaningful change in territory. He posted that 2 years ago. Here you go. This is the guy we told you about earlier. End Wokeness said FBI field office head James Dennehy in New York just resigned over the Epstein files cover-up. Alex Jones reporting deep state operative O'Malley is now predicting that Elon Musk's Doge may cause a social security system collapse in the next 30 to 90 days. The globalists and their Democrat Party puppets know that Doge's discovery of trillions of dollars of theft will completely destroy their criminal system. And Alex warns that their only move left is to launch a cyber attack false flag against the social security system and then blame Trump and Musk. So it's an urgent transmission. Matt Van Swole says they only care if you're diverse if you agree with them. You cannot hate the media enough. They try to destroy the people they disagree with, and it doesn't matter who you are. Yeah, that's what they're pumping in along with their trans ideology, their groomer materials to kindergartens. They're also pumping in coloring book revolution. Not the color revolution, the coloring book. From the pre-civil rights era, the colored revolution. All right, so here you go. World Hall of Fun says Data Republican has the fastest growing following on X. 675,000 followers now. You should follow Data Republican. From out of nowhere, this nonverbal deaf woman is making an enormous contribution to MAGA. Her security clearance is being obtained, and she is expected to join the Doge team soon. She's a real treasure. Data Republican says, it's been almost a week since I was doxxed, and my life has changed permanently. She says, I am living proof that DEI is fake. She says, a traditional big tech job is no longer an option for me, not because I lack the skills or experience, but because of what I've stood for. I didn't do this for profit. I was already successful, and I don't want to frame myself as a victim. But here's the reality. If I'd aligned with the right ideology, my identity alone, deaf, female, so on, that would have been enough to open doors, maybe even land me a movie deal. Instead, my stance has made me a target to the point where I've had to completely uproot my life. I'm incredibly grateful for the overwhelming support I've received on X, and I'm leaning into it. But that support exists alongside an equally extreme level of hatred so intense that it has forced me to leave. That contrast should serve as a wake-up call. DEI, as it's commonly practiced, isn't about inclusion or equity. It's about ideological conformity. And if proof is needed, I'm it. She says, and the supreme irony is that the most vicious attacks by far have come because of my diversity credentials. But also super grateful for X once again. I do feel like the most loved person in the nation despite everything. I will never back down. So follow Data Republican. The name's everywhere. She's doing good stuff. And she's putting out some software that can help you track NGOs and who's connected to it. How the family members, spouses, it's all tit for tat. It's all just a greasy orgy. It's like a Diddy party for politicians. Brotherhood here sharing. Just a reminder, 14 years ago, Laura Logan, a CBS reporter, went to Egypt to report on the Arab Spring. Despite having an entourage, she ended up getting encircled and gang raped by several men, including some of those who were, air quote, protecting her. Think what those people would do in America. That's why you vet people and their ideologies. Mary Ligio Ross says, when they say inclusive, they mean intrusive. When they say be kind, they mean shut up. When they say anyone can be a woman, they mean a woman is nothing. They don't want your acceptance. They want your submission. I like that one. Yep. Camden Sadie Schreiner, male track runner who cheats against women, was reportedly forced to run by himself in the girls' 400-meter Open Masters Championships in New York after female competitors refused to run against him. This is the way. Refused to cooperate in the madness. Yeah, Riley Gaines, she's highlighting Georgia Democrat Senator Ossoff. You have a daughter. Have you no shame? Georgians are watching. I will make it my mission to do what I can to remove you from your Senate seat in 26. And here's a picture. Here's a dude violently injuring. They're saying this giant male in a Massachusetts school injured 3 girls during a girls' basketball match. They ended the game early before he can hurt any more girls and had to forfeit the game due to injuries. Every single Democrat senator just voted against keeping men out of women's sports. Democrats don't care about your daughter's safety. So stupid. Why are the Democrats hell-bent on harming girls by forcing them to compete in sports against mediocre men? I don't fully understand it. Joey Manarino says he walked past the famous migrant hotel in New York, the Roosevelt Hotel, and it's still very much being utilized. Looks like the mass deportations need to head straight there and get some of these folks out. Why is this still taking place? I don't know. Elon, well, at least your federal tax dollars aren't paying for it. Just New York dollars, taxpayer. Just New York tax dollars pay for it now. Johnny Midnight says the FBI had sex tapes of Democrat mayors sleeping with a Chinese spy and kept them hidden. They knew Eric Swalwell was sleeping with a Chinese spy and kept it hidden. They had Hunter Biden's laptop and kept that hidden. But they leaked a dossier that they knew was fake to the New York Times in an effort to take down Trump. Never forget. Megyn Kelly saying about these 45 cowardly Democrat senators that voted against protecting women in women's sports. She said, they disgust me. We said, vote every one of these people out. Recall them immediately if you can. This right here saying U.S. aid has officially shut down its headquarters. In other words, President Trump and Elon Musk have toppled the greatest terrorist organization on the planet in human history, according to Real Robert. We said, and to think that we had this terrorist organization operating under our noses this entire time, shame on the Uniparty, shame on them. Check. Trump posted this. Oh my gosh, it's about effing time is what we said. President Trump posted this on Truth Social. This is the southern border. Take a look. Nice is this? This is now our southern border. Like the rest of the stuff is supposed to be handled by the state. That's supposed to be a top-down government. You're definitely supposed to be protecting the border. David Bann chiming in about the ladies having to compete with men in sports. It's unbelievable that they just don't care anymore. New York, more like New Dork, says Kenneth. So yeah, okay, so yeah, CNN is airing Trump's joint address to Congress per their program schedule. They're claiming that they weren't, but we said who was also there to film when Roger Stone was raided? Should CNN be renamed the Criminal News Network because they're criminals, or how about Corrupt News Network? Sound better? What about Complicit News Network? Oh, here's Trump talking tough about Zelensky. I'm very curious to hear what he's going to have to say about President Zelensky in the speech to the joint session of Congress today. I'm excited to hear. I bet he's going to bring the energy. He's going to bring this type of vibe.
Everybody has to get into a room, so to speak, and we have to make a deal. And the deal can be made very fast. It should not be that hard a deal to make. It can be made very fast. Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal. And if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long. That person will not be listened to very long because I believe that Russia wants to make a deal. I believe certainly the people of Ukraine want to make a deal. They've suffered more than anybody else. Everybody has to get in.
Yeah, the poor people of Ukraine, man, they're just getting kidnapped and conscripted. Clandestine says, wow, Trump is not playing games. Trump says he believes Russia and the people of Ukraine are willing to make a deal, but Zelensky's not. Trump warning Zelensky he won't be around very long if he's not willing to make a peace deal. Scorched earth on Zelensky. Once again, Sean Davis saying, so are we ever going to find out what's going on with the extremely well-connected Ukrainian freedom fighter who nearly assassinated Trump at his golf course in Palm Beach, or nah? Remember that the guy pictured here with the would-be assassin received a presidential medal of freedom from Biden? And there he is taking a picture with him, allegedly. It looks like the same guy. All right, let's hear Glenn Beck's take. Glenn is always... Well, let's hear Glenn Beck's take on four-dimensional chess with Trump and Zelensky.
All right, I want to show you a chalkboard or a whiteboard here on the 3D or 4D chess that President Trump is playing. Nobody gets it. This guy is a genius, and the EU just shot themselves in the foot. It'll work to America's advantage, I think, but you could have You could have been a winner too, as well. Let me show you. What are Trump's goals? Because he is marking everything off. He promised, I did that, did that, did that. Some of his goals: end the never-ending wars, put America first, reduce spending, reduce waste and corruption, tech and AI, and box China. Make sure we're still a superpower. Okay, let me just show you what he was doing and what he is doing with Putin and everybody else. He's offering a deal where Russia, because be honest, Russia lost. Okay, everybody knows that. Nobody's saying that, but it's true. Russia was supposed to be able to go in there for 2 weeks and take all of the Ukraine.
They did say that. That was the big talking point. It'll be over in a minute. It'll be over before it even starts. It'll be done in 2 weeks. It wasn't.
Ukraine is not a NATO ally. Ukraine stopped them. Now, we helped, but it wasn't NATO, so you don't need that. Because really, if you can't beat Ukraine, you think you're going to beat Poland and all of NATO? That's ridiculous. Russia lost, but Trump is offering him a way to let him claim victory. He can claim victory. The war is over. Plus, money doesn't talk, it screams. We are after rare minerals. Rare minerals is going to do this for us. Tech AI, we cannot exist without rare minerals.
We do need
70 to 90% of them come from China now. They got a lock on rare minerals.
Not good.
You're not going to be the world leader if we don't have them. That's why Trump said, maybe Greenland should be the 51st state. No, they weren't interested. But if this falls apart, Greenland, look out, you could be the 51st state. He wants to box China. He wants to put America first, end the war, reduce spending. Okay, what he's doing is he's offering to buy the rare minerals in the now Russian part of Ukraine. Putin's going to like that. It ends the war, and he can say he won because he's taking money now. It also, on our side, weakens the relationship between Russia and China. That relationship, China's not going to be for all of that. And we've made an enemy a frenemy. Putin, you can't trust him. But
frenemy.
Better to have a relationship like this than to be saying that we might going to go into nuclear war. Here's Ukraine. Let Zelensky claim victory because Russia lost. So he claims victory. He gets a secure Ukraine. Why? Not because we put boots on the ground or he's become a NATO member, but because we want to buy his rare earth minerals as well. So that will help them with money, rebuilding. We'll send people in, companies.
Three-dimensional chess. More like double D chess. Oh, I got stories and I got jokes. Not going to make them here. Mineral. A shrunken general? Mineral. General. What's that from? What sitcom is that from? General. I have some general anxiety. General anxiety. Double D chess instead of 3D chess. Four-dimensional chess.
These will come in. They'll build the mines. They'll build everything. So Ukraine will make money. Russia will make money. We get rare earth minerals at a much cheaper level. And China is no longer involved at all. And it's, again, reduced our dependency on China. Also, it stops our money pipeline, which, reduce waste and corruption. Okay, the EU, you blew this, guys. It would have allowed you to let the EU claim victory. NATO did it. We won. We held him back. It would have stopped the war, restored their economy, secure their economy, and Europe, you'd be relevant again, okay? Nobody's afraid of you. Boots on the ground. What are the French just going to actually leave boots on the ground because nobody's going to? Idiots. So EU could have won as well. And here's what we get out of it. Tell me this is a problem for anybody. We are again a world leader by brain, not our military. No muscle in this. We're not coercing anyone. Everyone can win from this. You box China, you get the rare earth minerals. We're forward thinking for once. Less money to NATO. Europe is stronger. No war. America wins with no losers. Let's see. Reduce spending. Put America first. End the never-ending wars. Gee.
Does it check all the boxes?
Yeah, Donald Trump's an idiot. This guy's a freaking genius, and this is the first time I've seen a president actually stand up for America first without hurting everyone else. We all win. Ugh. Ugh. All right, I want to show you a chalkboard or a whiteboard.
I do think Trump still does want to cut a deal, so we're going to find out. We're going to find out if he's going to be ready to announce something. I'm not entirely confident of that. Once again, this was just us talking about a truckload of Epstein documents. That's great. Yawn. We've lost faith in Bondi. Prove us wrong, please. And let's talk about the voter fraud. Elon talking with Rogan here. Every blue state needs to have actual voting, or else we're in deep trouble, people. Here you go. Take a listen.
California made it actually illegal to ask for ID when people vote.
Yes. California and New York, you are not allowed to show your ID.
Real quick, David, you're saying you're not so sure about Glenn Beck. Tell me why. Beck's been off my radar for a while. I just don't see him on the Blaze as much. I used to a long time ago. I think Glenn gets a lot of stuff right. No, maybe not everything, but I think a lot of things. Here we go, back to Elon.
When you vote. I just want to be clear so everyone understands this. In California and New York, you are not allowed to show your ID even if you want to.
Right. Why would that ever be a good idea?
I mean,
if you wanted to steel man it,
if you're trying to facilitate fraud in elections, it's a great idea.
That's the only reason.
Yes.
There's no other reason logically why that would be a good idea.
It's for fraud. It's like wake up, sheeple. Wake up. Hello. Like, let's say you wanted to commit fraud. What are the things you would do?
Yeah,
you would say you don't need ID, and you can mail in your ballot.
California.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious. That's absolutely obvious. Oh my gosh. Okay. You know what? Instead of going through the list of mean tweets, I think this is funnier. I'll end on this one. You can scroll back and find the list of famous, hilarious Donald Trump memes. Oh, by the way, this just in from Trudeau. Wait, did I play you what Trudeau said? I don't think it was in my stack. Let me pull it up here. Justin Trudeau just said, hang on, let me share this instead.
Canadians.
To my fellow Canadians.
My fellow Canadians, I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be tough.
I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be tough.
Even though we're all going to pull together, because that's what we do. We will use every tool at our disposal so Canadian workers and businesses can weather this storm. From expanding EI benefits and making them more flexible to providing direct supports to businesses, we will be there as needed to help. But Canada, make no mistake, no matter how long this lasts, no matter what the cost, the federal government and other orders of government will be there for you. We will defend Canadian jobs. We will take measures to prevent predatory behavior that threatens Canadian companies because of the impacts of this trade war, leaving them open to takeovers. We will relentlessly fight to protect our economy. We will stand up for Canadians every single second of every single day because this country is worth fighting for.
Yes, it is. So Donald Trump just put out, please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada. Still calling him Governor Trudeau. That when he puts a retaliatory tariff on the U.S., our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount. Where was it? That was the response? Yeah. So there you go. The tariff wars have begun. Nick Sortor asking Maxine Waters if the reason she's so against Doge is because she was caught funneling over $1 million in regulated funds to her daughter. But because the goon squad recognized me, they immediately surrounded her and shoved me into the side of her limo again. I also attempted to ask her why she's so against change that the vast majority of Americans voted for. Sounds like her attempts to block transparency is a threat to our democracy.
Why are you so worried about Doge? You're pushing me. You're pushing me. You're pushing me. Doge has a very high approval rating amongst the American people. So what? You don't want to? You don't like the will of the people? Maxine, you.
Yeah, a bunch of goon squads. It looks like. It's kind of what they know. It's kind of what they do. Acting as goon squads. All right, we'll go back over here. So federal judges have issued just 5 temporary restraining orders against the Biden administration. You might not be surprised to learn that they've already issued more against Trump in his first 6 weeks in office. We're facing a constitutional crisis at the hands of the Democrat-appointed judges. They're trying to turn that around. Oh, Trump's causing a constitutional crisis. No. The judges are causing a constitutional crisis. Something worth noting. Judge McConnell, the federal judge blocking President Trump's spending freeze, served for 18 years on the board of a nonprofit that received $128 million in government funding during that time. Now, after his ruling to keep his federal funds flowing, his nonprofit stands to receive millions more. Judge McConnell must recuse himself immediately, says American First Legal. Chief Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell says the initial Doge findings at the Department of Defense have now resulted in $80 million in ridiculous spending being eliminated. And that's pretty awesome. Yeah. DC Drano says Zelensky knows if the war ends, his power ends. Elections will resume and he'll lose. Then his adversary will investigate his money laundering and he'll be sent to prison. Zelensky is sending innocent Ukrainians to die in his meat grinder so he can stay in power. Call him a dictator. By the way, there's a nice reminder. If you really stand with Ukraine, send your own money and your own sons over to fight. Otherwise, you're just virtue signaling as usual. Elon says true, and as distasteful as it is, Zelensky should be offered some kind of amnesty in a neutral country in exchange for a peaceful transition back to democracy in Ukraine. That might be the only way. And yes, Elon, that is the most distasteful thing I've heard in a long time. And yeah, Pasobic is asking, the guy that tried to kill President Trump, why is he being featured, Ryan Ruth here, in a propaganda video for the Azov battalion, the Nazi battalion, in May of 2022? Why was one of the Trump assassins in an Azov battalion propaganda video? Make it make sense. By the way, Tucker in this video here is asking RFK Jr. why the U.S. has biolabs in Ukraine. And RFK Jr. responds, it's because we're developing bioweapons. RFK Jr. points out that this is a hanging offense and it violates the Geneva Biological Weapons Convention. The crimes run very deep in Ukraine. Nick Sorter laughing at the pro-Zelensky protest outside the White House, one of the lowest energy protests ever. Almost couldn't find it. Seems to be a direct result of U.S. aid funding drying up. By the way, let's flash back to when George Bush used to drive Putin around his ranch in a pickup, and nobody called him a Russian puppet. Here's another one. Bombshell report, Pentagon officials caught using taxpayer-funded credit cards at casinos, bars, and clubs. So they tried to get rid of the credit cards, and I think some judge ruled that they can't do it, so they changed the credit balance amounts on all of these to $1. That was what I heard. It's not in this story, but it's been a lot of wasted money. Here you go. Doge Designer says all the Democrat senators just voted against keeping men out of women's sports. All of them. Women should be outraged about Biden and Democrats decimating girls in women's sports. The weakest men compete with girls. The weakest minds celebrate it. There you go. All right, we're going to leave you with a moment of zen. Any comments? Yeah, and I don't know, this head of the FBI field office in New York resigning after the Department of Justice accused his office of hiding thousands of Epstein documents. James Dennehy. Resignation? Where the hell are the criminal charges for Bondi? No resignation. Indict him. So this is hilarious. This is a deep fake video. It's so funny. I'm going to play this and we'll wrap the show up. Let's see any other. Yeah, boots on the ground. What about boots under the bed? There's a snake in my boots. There's a snake in my boots. He's a dandy. You're talking about Trudeau, or Trudy, as I like to call him. Yeah, it's only hard for the normal Canadians. Yeah, I want Canada. I want our brothers to the north to get their guns back, get their country back, kick out the illegal alien invaders. Let's make Canada great. We have to. We got to kind of support them. Yeah, you're right, David. Again, none of these people give a F about us. Look, but I feel like President Trump is doing a lot of common sense things that will help the modern person, the average human, the average American. I think so. Doesn't get everything right, but he's sure getting a lot of stuff right. All right, so this is the video. We're giving you the preview here. Let me just pause it. We'll cue it up. This is hilarious because this feels like what an honest conversation would actually sound like between these two. Kevin Sorbo going, "Who did this?" with the laughing till they cry emoji. Yes. Thank you, David. David thanking me for his work. David, thank you for your commentary. Thank you for participating. It's always good having the regular, it's like, look, I've been a bartender for a while and I like having regulars. I like having ongoing conversations with people. Nobody wants to sit in an empty bar. Nobody wants to drink alone. Come on in. This is the unhappy. Well, my sports show is called the Unhappy Hour. Look at my hair. Look at this mess. Would you look at that? Yeah, I like ongoing conversations with our regulars. I appreciate it as much as you guys appreciate it. Hopefully I provide humor and value. But this is where I'm going to ask that you link up with us in the other places. We're on Telegram and Signal on TNAM and TNAM chat. TNAM and TNAM chat. We're on Spotify, the Agree to Disagree show. And our podcast is also the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Sign up for that one too. The New American Media is on YouTube. Subscribe. 1,800 videos. Rumble. Subscribe. The New American Media. Truth Social. The New American Media. Instagram. Our New American Media page. The New American Media on Facebook. On X, we're at American_media_. Patreon.com/The New American Media. PayPal at Fuzz Installment. Venmo at Brian Engelman. Cash App, $ Brian Engelman. Yes, those are the ones there if you'd like to contribute to the show. So please link up with us in all of the other places. You got a spot on your tie? Spotify? Yeah, Zelensky was not wearing a tie. He gets out of his car and Trump walks out to greet him. He's all dressed up. It's like, bro, you're showing up in like street clothes. What are you doing, man? This is the best you got? Come on, brother. Come on. Anyway, we'll leave you with this. Not our moment of zen, but like our final funny moment. This thing cracked me up. So please link up with us, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the heart button, hit the notification, do the thing, tap if it's on your cell phone. And we'll be back again tomorrow, I believe. We might be live tonight. It just kind of depends if I end up going to the comedy club and doing a set or not. Because if I do, I'm not going to be able to make it for the Trump speech. I don't know. It's kind of a coin flip at this point. Maybe, maybe not. If I'm around, I might go live during Trump's speech tonight. But until then, I'll sign out. You just keep your eyes peeled for the notifications. That's why you set notifications, and you'll see when we go live. And we'll talk to you in a few. Here is the funniest thing I saw in a while. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy this one. Here we go.
That was yours. We thought that baggie belonged to Hunter. You know, I think the Secret Service probably still has it somewhere.
I have been stealing the money.
I'm sorry, what's that now?
I must to speak honestly. I steal many of USA dollars to Ukraine. Millions. Some dollars for some oligarchs also, some for American bureaucrats also.
Well, we know that, but why are you telling me this?
Because, Mr. Trump, if you end war, we cannot steal any more money. We must continue war.
No, the war must end. Your people are dying, Zelensky. They're dying.
But I want to steal more money. What do you want? Fellatio, I can do it.
No, I don't want fellatio. No.
Are you sure? I did for Biden.
Okay, that is what we call oversharing. Look, there's nothing you have that I want. You're not going to convince me to keep this war going. You don't have the cards.
I not play cards.
No, I know you're not literally playing cards. It's a metaphor. It's like I'm playing 4D chess and you're playing checkers.
No, I not play checkers. There is no checkerboard, you see.
Okay, let's try this. I am in the driver's seat, okay? Do you understand that expression?
No, but we are not in car.
No, you're right. We're not in a car. That's true.
Listen, Mr. Trump, I am actor/comedian. I crave attention. Since start of war, I get worshipped by presidents. I'm worshipped by Hollywood. If war ends, no more attention, no more worship. With all due respect, Mr. Trump, this war must last forever.
I tell you what, if you agree to end this war, we will do a remake of Friends, and you can play Ukrainian Chandler Bing. How does that sound?
Oh, I love the Friends. This is favorite show of me. I am such a Monica.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's sign the thing, and then I'll go show you the room where Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky did it.
Oh yes, this is funny because I just say I'm such a Monica. Maybe we will go in a room and you can be Bill Clinton and I will be Monica. Yes?
You know what? Forget the room. Let's just sign the document. Does anyone have a pen? Phil? Where's Phil? I need a pen. Somebody give me a damn pen.
Take care, everybody. Appreciate you. Love you. We'll talk to you again soon.